I know you're here. I know you're here. Just leave me alone, okay? I just stole a little money. That's all I did. Ah! Don't kill me, man. Don't kill me. Don't kill me, man. I'm not gonna kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to like, subscribe, and tell all of your friends about the best movie podcast on the internet. What podcast? The Video Store Bad Boys. The Video Store Bad Boys podcast, coming at you every week on YouTube, hosted by David Coy and John Kent, two friends coming together to discuss all things movie related in the sanctuary of a video store. The Video Store Bad Boys. Like and subscribe today. Tell me, have you subscribed? You will.
Oh yeah, it's about that time. When two men come together and get heated in a fun yet non-sexual way. So sit back, relax, adjust that tracking, don't be kind, fuck that rewind. It's time for the Video Store Bad Boys podcast.
Yeah, boy!
Does Tom Cruise tighten his ass when he gets in the sprint mode?
I saw Species. I was traumatized when I saw the second one, and he choked this woman on his dick. He was like, yeah.
I ain't got no lighter, I ain't got no match. What am I supposed to do here?
Who
the fuck are you? 1, 2, food's not coming for you.
3, 4, no food no more. 5, 6, you're gonna become a stick. 7, 8, you wish you ate.
9, 10, you'll never eat food again. So, titties.
Titties in action. Go together like peanut butter and jelly.
And now, your Video Store Bad Boys, David Coy and John Kent.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to the 4th episode of Video Store Bad Boy Podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I am your host, David Coy. Across from me is Mr. Jonathan Kent. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm lovely, David. How are you?
Oh, I am splendid. Rainy day, but a good day. Because why? I'll tell you why. Because we are here. We're going to discuss some topics. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get into our rants. We're going to talk our shit.
Mm-hmm.
My God, this is the 4th episode. 4 episodes. We made it here. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. But like, John, I'm like a congratulations. I would like to thank you, sir.
Me?
Thank you.
For what?
Yes, you.
What are you thanking me
This
for?
wouldn't be possible. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Fans,
Aww.
thank you for listening. You know what? I'm looking in the mirror right now. Thank you, David. I just want to be thankful that we got here. We love movies. We love talking shit. We love debating. We love getting in the nitty gritty of it and figuring out what the fuck is going on. Again, this is the Video Store Bad Boy Podcast. We're going to talk our shit. If you're offended, sounds like a personal problem. That's what we do. Opinions differ. Facts is facts. But I'm saying is tomato. The only difference is we're right. I'm just joking. But yes, I'm going on a tangent. I was like to say, welcome to the podcast. We are here. We're gonna have a good time.
Yay.
We got some great topics. We're gonna talk about a lot of good things. But the one thing I'm looking forward to, John.
What's that?
I know you guys saw it. It dropped last week. Justice League Snyder Cut.
We are going to get there and a bunch of other topics. But yes, going along with what you said, couldn't have said any of it better myself. And yes, thank you, David. Thank you all for coming back to episode 4. Welcome back to the video store. It's raining out like we said, so stay dry. Stay with us, please. And like David said, all are welcome. Like I always say, pants are optional. Get your favorite snack, cuddle up, because we got a lot of shit to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did mention the Snyder Cut. We are going to get there. But right off the bat, David, there are two gentlemen we need to acknowledge, and they are the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Woo! Yes, they finally dropped that first episode. And my God, it was action packed. At least the first 10. That was the longest act. I did not want that scene to end.
Dude,
I did not want it to end.
Neither did I. I couldn't believe how cinematic it was. Like,
yes.
WandaVision, as good as it was, a lot of times felt like a TV show. This felt like it was an actual movie. It looked amazing.
I know. I was like, okay, I see where they put their budget. I mean, also as Marvel, they have the capital, they have the money, and also they're owned by Disney, who has even more money.
Yep.
I mean, they're just pretty much just throwing it. They just probably just threw it at them. I was like, here's a check, blank. Fill in what you need.
I mean, at this point, with Kevin Feige, do you blame him?
Of course not. At this point, he can do whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants. If he got into a scandal right now, they'll just brush it underneath the rug. They will pay. They could probably, not saying that's okay, but they could probably pay the scandal to go away and then some.
But, please don't joke about that, because Kevin Feige is such a blessing to us comic book fans. I mean, we got it pretty rough on the DC side, so we can't have him go anywhere. So no scandals, Kevin. You just keep doing your thing, brother. Please. We don't need you going any dark roads. So, because this right here is gold. What WandaVision turned out to be, which I thought was going to be a pile of shit. I'm not going to lie. It turned out blowing me away, being so original, so out of the box, and being much more of like a mind fuck. Whereas this was just in your face, action, and it was glorious. Falcon right off the bat, man. That whole plane sequence where he flew out, and it was just madness. It was crazy stunts, beautifully blended CGI. Love the shit out of it.
Yes, they came out the gate strong, and I was kind of expecting like them to like already be teamed up, or like no, they did not interact with each other at all.
No, I was surprised at that. I really thought off the bat we were going to get them partnered up, but this is once again, the Marvel, these shows so far have been throwing curveballs like, you did not see that coming, did you? And and they've definitely done a great job. I mean, there were so many surprises. We should probably go step by step, but yeah, the opening sequence, I've always kind of thought don't get me wrong, please. How do I say this gently without
take your time,
without being mean? Okay, the character of Falcon, I kind of always kind of saw him. Anthony Mackie plays it beautifully. He's awesome. He's charismatic. Only that guy can make Falcon that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's amazing. He's so much personality, and that's what he brings to it, and his physicality as well. But that character of Falcon, I always kind of saw him as, all right, he's there, kind of like, I'm sorry if you're a big Falcon fan. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to the good part.
Yes.
I'm saying in what was seen in the movie so far, it's like, he's okay, but here was like, holy shit, don't fuck with Falcon.
Yeah, he had his time to really, really shine, and I'm glad. Cause I mean, it's kind of crazy. He's like a human with like mechanical wings and whatnot, so it's like hard to stand out. You have gods and Tony Stark and Captain America next to you, so it's like, well then, I guess I'm gonna just do my thing over here. It gets overshadowed. Plus, with Avengers, there's so many of them. You know what I mean? Some players, get kind of thrown by the wayside a little bit.
That's true. And it's funny you mentioned Captain America, because holy shit, he was all over this episode. Chris Evans' image was everywhere. And as we all know, if you didn't see Endgame, spoilers, Captain America, Steve Rogers, handed the shield over to Sam. And we find out, though, I was wondering, like, how is he going to be Captain America? He doesn't have, the super soldier serum. He never got it. Granted, Bucky, a.k.a. the Winter Soldier, does. But he handed it to Sam, and rightfully so. Sam totally deserves it. He's especially the kind of character he is. But right out the gate, we find out he does not take the shield. He actually gives it up. Did not see that coming.
I did not. I did not at all. I was actually, like I said, I was quite shocked. Not shocked, but I mean, we already saw previews of him, saying he didn't feel like he was worth it, or not worth it. He didn't believe he earned it as of yet. And I kind of felt like I knew it was coming. You watch the episode, he pretty much gave it to the Smithsonian. He's like, here, donating it.
Yeah.
And not to give the end of the way, but what did they do? The government turned around and screwed him royally,
like the government always does so famously, and that was very well written into the plot. Yes, it's very humble of Sam, and again, at this point, we still haven't seen the Winter Soldier. We don't quite know what's happened yet. This is the timeline takes place after Endgame. There's no flashbacks yet, as of right now in the episode, and we'd see a very familiar face by the name of Rhodey, a.k.a. War Machine. He shows up. That was nice to see Don Cheadle again.
Oh, yeah, that was a nice little cameo. Just, it makes it feel that much even more part of the story. It's not just like their story and then, no one else shows up. Like, it wasn't just anybody. It was War Machine, Rhodey, like got a serious, like a prominent character that shows up that adds a little bit more, oomph to the story.
Yeah, like definitely gave it a little more credit. It's something that I feel WandaVision kind of lacked. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was fun with the whole little trick they did with the Quicksilver prank, which wasn't really cool.
Yeah, that put my emotions. That hurt my feelings. I did not see that coming.
Oh, there it is. That's two we've done. But yeah, granted, yes, we had, of course, the Thor character cameo. We had the Ant-Man character cameo, but these were, and of course the Captain Marvel. We had the secondary. They were great, don't get me wrong, but we didn't get any of the Avengers showing up, with the exception of Wanda and Vision. Whereas here, we actually have War Machine, which, like you said, it definitely legitimized it. I think gave it a little more of a. This definitely feels more like a movie than it does a TV show, for sure.
Yes, definitely. Just like that whole thing they added, the whole speech, and he gave it away, and even it was just, I felt. As much action it was like a really good grounded story. Like they like Rhodey actually talked to him. Was like, why didn't you? We need a hero. He's like asking all these questions. All the hard questions that he would ask. And then I felt like it dealt with a lot of emotion, especially with not War Machine, Bucky, with what he was going through, how he's still processing his trauma.
Yeah, I like that scene with the psychiatrist when we flash to him. He's sitting with a therapist who who gives him a lot of shit. Definitely very, very good acting by Sebastian Stan here. It definitely gave the character a little more dimension, a little sense of humor. Not a lot, not cheesy. But then you see that he is living a life alone. You kind of hear that Sam has reached out to him and he's ignored the calls. And you see him with this Asian man, this old Asian man. You don't quite know. Like, it's all right. I guess he's just living his life here. But you find out there's so much more to why he hangs out with this guy. And you especially see it in that fucking badass flashback of Bucky.
Oh yeah, I was confused at first what was going on, but then once I realized it was a flashback, I was like, wow. I was like, that's why the Winter Soldier was so deadly. He really just took out an entire room like it was nothing.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that because I'm gonna sorry to shift briefly to the Fast and the Furious franchise. They have a tendency of making villains who did despicable things good guys, and they kind of gloss over that they did terrible things. Whereas here, it's like, no. Though Bucky is on the good side, he is haunted by his past where he was. He was literally like a war machine, not to take anything away from Rhodey, but this guy was like a Terminator. He fucking killed people, and he lives with those consequences and carries that weight. And to the point where he's hanging with this older Asian man, and you come to find out, spoilers, he took out his son, which was like, oh, but he doesn't have.
Exactly. And I think also it grounds it too, in a sense as, in comics, all these, they're superheroes, villains, they're doing all these things. It's like, how do you, especially after these guys broke the Sokovia Accords, right? So it's like, how do you come back from that? And that's like a lot of questions. Like Bucky was pardoned, which, I'm glad he was, because technically you saved the world. You're defending the world, not just America or another country, the world. Okay,
The world, Craig. The world.
Exactly. And it also goes back to when, it asked when sorry, I'm drawing a blank, when Falcon was trying to get a loan, and the guy was breaking down like, how do you pay your bills as an Avenger? And no one really actually, I would say they like glossed over it, but they never really say, like, if you watch, I would think it was Age of Ultron, when it was asking, like, when Tony Stark pretty much, he funded, built, and did everything, and stuff through goodwill. It's like, when you think about it, when you, like, I guess, working for the Avengers, you don't really have to, you got room and board,
right?
You're probably getting fed hot meals, so it's like, do you really need to get paid? Technically, you're getting all, it might seem cool, but it's like, yo, I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, I mean, granted, yes, you're living in Avengers Tower, like you said, you're getting, I'm sure he'll hook you up with whatever wardrobe you need, whatever. Yeah, food's probably stocked to the gills. You can come and go as you please, of course, but like, I was wondering the same thing, and I love that they put that in there. It's like, wait, you mean the government, after all they did,
Nobody cut checks here?
And it also makes me think about it too. I think it was in Winter Soldier when what Captain was talking about. You know, he can't. When he grew up in Brooklyn, you know how everything bad was probably back in the day, hella cheap. He couldn't even afford his own rent. I was like, this is Captain America, and he can barely live in Brooklyn or afford to live in Brooklyn. Like as an Avenger, like he couldn't afford. I was like, wait, how are these people getting paid? But I remember some of my friends brought this up about like how these, you know, they watching like how Sam Wilson can barely pay for get a loan because he didn't have any, you know, income. But yet somehow in Winter Soldier, Black Widow had, what was it, a Ferrari?
Yeah, what's that about?
Porsche?
Like, I mean, granted though, but she is a paid assassin.
So you can get paid to kill, but not to defend.
Wow, that right there. Did you hear that, listeners? You hear what he just said? That right there is why you come here. That was amazing. It's true. Like, it is true. Like, even, yeah, when you think about it, like, how did Black Widow have that money? Or then the fact that that's another thing that gets glossed over is her past. Like, she fucking killed people for a living. Like, she was essentially a secret agent. And don't give me that shit. Oh, well, she was a spy. Well, yeah, at some point, though, you saw her skills. She didn't just maim. At some point, you know, we know her backstory. She fucking killed. So yeah, she made coin off that, but yet these people defended the entire world. People that were dead, they brought them back. Tony Stark sacrificed himself. Like, these people put themselves on the line in a way that it fucked them permanently. Like, you know, look what the price that Scarlet Witch Wanda paid. A big one. A lot of them paid a big price. Look at what Tony Stark's family has to deal with now. You know, he has a child that'll never have their father now. Like, all this shit. And that's so insane. Like, and it's Sam. Like, it's an Avenger. You're sitting there taking selfies with him, and it's like, you really think that his credit is bad? You think he won't pay you back?
Yes, and also he proved it. And the thing that killed me was he said, well, you have 5-year gap of... Bruh, where were you? Of course he has a 5-year gap because they called the blip. He was gone.
Right. That's not his fault.
Exactly.
It's no one's fault.
How are you going to hold that against him?
Yeah, that guy was a dick.
I was going to say, and also just, it was like subtle undertones of racism in there, you know, with, you know, Red Line. You can see it in there.
Yeah.
You know, I love that they kept it at least honest and real. Like, he was the optimistic, and his sister, of course, was the one of, like, you know, the opposite. Like, they're not going to get it. We already tried. Like, Sam did, you know, and it's funny, Sam did everything right. He had proof of income. He's, like, someone said how you treat veterans. Like, you have them defending all the world, the country.
He's a fucking veteran. Like, seriously? What other reason is there except I'm sorry, but you know, you don't want to point the finger at racism, but at the end, this guy is an Avenger. He is a veteran, and obviously he's a very famous celebrity and is very well known and is one of the most honorable men to ever live. You saw on national TV that he was handed the shield to be Captain America. I mean, if anything, I'll give this guy a loan, and I'm broke as shit. So that's what I'm saying. You seriously? What other reason is there? But yeah, it's cool they kept that realism in there, and it now puts him in a position of like, now what the fuck am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
But it was good shit up until but it's very good writing. It was very grounded. Good because it's cool. They started out with all this action, then it got very human. It got very grounded, ironically, and then also in the beginning, sorry to backtrack. Did you notice the cameo in that air sequence of a certain someone from Winter Soldier?
Yes, that's what I really loved about Marvel. They don't, even though like they're very close attention to details. Like, it's just like in the comic books, it's not just one and done. It's like a character villain will make an appearance later down the line.
Yeah, the gentleman I'm speaking of is UFC legend George St. Pierre, who had the amazing fight scene on the boat with Chris Evans and Winter Soldier. Here he shows up again at the beginning of the episode in a fucking amazing stunt sequence. And I was like, there he is. And it was never quite said in Winter Soldier. Like, he kept up pretty good with Captain America. Was he a super soldier? Because they didn't really explain
felt
that?
like he kept up with Captain America until Captain America got serious. He was like, "Okay, if you want to be serious, I'll okay, let's do this." And the fact that he took off his helmet and his whole fighting style changed. Like when you see them fighting each other, it's like he's like having Captain on like the ropes a little bit. And once Cap's like, "All right, I'll be serious now." Cap really didn't do anything. The guy kicked him and Cap just put his foot and kicked him back. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop that.
That's when you see, like, all right, don't fuck with Cap, man. He trains hard and he's strong. But yeah, it was cool seeing him. And then we get into the meat of the story and we find out that Sam has a little, would you call that kid like his sidekick? Or like, what would you describe him as?
An acquaintance, a budding friend. Maybe could be a sidekick later on.
Yeah, possibly setting that up. And as we see, he was I love that he was fanboying out and asking questions about the whole, because you do wonder where they show Chris Evans all over this episode and pictures in the museum.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where is Captain America? And he tells this very fun conspiracy theory that he's living on the moon, and Sam fucks with him brilliantly. And it's very funny. I like that scene. But then you see, here's the part that got to me. Let's get into this now. So then this kid, and I'm sorry for not knowing his name yet, but what country are they in? Because Sam speaks that other language too.
I'm not sure.
It's definitely in like the Middle East, correct? Or am I wrong?
Yes, I would know that. I would say that. Yes.
Okay, and then you see that this kid sort of gets involved. He's looking down at his phone, right, and he's following this thing. It almost reminded me, I hate to say this, kind of reminded me of Pokemon Go a little bit. Was I alone on that?
Oh my god. Oh, Pokemon Go. It was fun. It was fun while it lasted, but I feel like if you didn't live in like a major city, it wasn't that fun to play that game.
The craziest shit about that, sorry, getting on this quick side note, that people died playing that fucking game because they were dumb. That part blows my mind. Like, people walked off cliffs. Like, seriously? You didn't see the fucking ocean?
It's like, whoop.
But anyway, so we get what sort of looks like this version of this game, but it is not at all. All of a sudden, these like crazy hockey masks start getting handed out. They kind of look like hockey masks. They're black, and he's thinking, what's going on? And that's when all fucking hell breaks loose.
It was like, and they call them the Flag Smashers, and it's apparently like they used this flash mob to like cover up what they really were doing was robbing this Swiss bank. And this guy, he's being undercover, right. And once he blows, not I guess technically would blow his cover. It's like, hey, he tries to like arrest one of them, and they have like super strength and whooped his behind like it was nothing.
Yeah, but that guy with the long hair, right? This is my question. That one guy that was like a super soldier had the long hair. Sam sees the footage, right?
Yes.
And then he says, it can't be. Now, that stood out to me because my question is, because they haven't spoken, does he think that's Bucky?
I wouldn't think it's Bucky, but maybe he knows more than what's being said. That's why he was like, don't tell nobody. And just keep between me and you.
But who is that under the mask? Who do you think? I also, for a second, this is going to sound dumb. I know it sounds dumb, everyone. For a split second, I was like, does he think that's Steve Rogers?
No. I mean, Steve Rogers had grown his beard out, but I don't think he would grow his hair out like that. That's Steve Rogers is really just roughing it. And plus, last time we saw Steve Rogers, he was an old man.
He was old as shit. But he does time travel. Remember that. As the end of Endgame, as we saw, every Infinity Stone had to be put back in the exact place at the exact moment, which he apparently did flawlessly and easily, like it was nothing, even though it took all that work and all of them to pull that off. But apparently Steve could just do it by himself, and that's it. But not going to get into the flaws of that film. Okay. No. But here, yes, but it's wondering who is. It's cool they set that up as who is this guy? Why does Sam know him, and why the hush hush?
I think that adds more mystery into watch next week, because I want to know. These are questions they do that purposely. It's like, all right, you're asking like, who is this guy? What is going on? You're just like, yeah, I want to know. Yeah, I want to know.
Are we gonna know? Of course we're gonna know. The thing that sucks is only 6 episodes. You know what I mean? I kind of hate that because.
I know.
It just feels.
But it's like, I guess that's why the episodes are technically like 50 minutes long, even though 8 of those minutes are like credits.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. WandaVision was only a half hour, correct? this felt like it went by way faster than WandaVision. Was that just me?
I enjoyed it. I felt like it. I think because I wanted more.
Plus, I think this was kind of more action packed and kind of quicker paced, so that it kind of like flowed. Whereas WandaVision, especially those first couple episodes, because they were really building on something and it was all strictly no action other than a couple little moments, it was way more playing on like a mind fuck. Whereas here, this is in your face. This is Marvel. This is action. This is all that good stuff, and that's why I think it kind of went by a little like whoa, it's over already. That was an hour, but yes. But moving on, after Sam giving up the shield, there's no Captain America. Well, the government went ahead and took care of that. Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, so a clear move of what a government does. They tricked, not even tricked. It was like, hell yeah, give it to the Smithsonian. And next thing you know, they turn around. It's like, oh yes, the world needs a Captain America. So here is Captain America, the new Captain America. And I'm not gonna lie, this guy looks so smug and like he's like, yeah, I'm the Captain America, bitch.
You know who that is?
Oh, I know who. Yes, it is Mr. I forgot his first name, but his last name is Russell, who is the son of
Kurt Russell's son.
Exactly. I think it's Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son.
He is the gentleman. If you have ever seen,
he was in an episode of Black Mirror.
He's the one from 22 Jump Street. Am I right?
Yes, that is him. Yes.
Yeah.
His name is Wyatt Han Russell.
Always got to give it up for Han. He was family. All right. Had to do that out of my system. Okay. But yeah. And it's cool seeing that it's Kurt Russell's son because ironically, Kurt Russell played Star-Lord's father in Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's kind of cool that Russell blood is in the universe again. And my question is he just a Captain America for show? Or does he have the super soldier? Did he get the super soldier serum or what?
I don't know. I also want to just make sure I wanted to say this out. I think Captain America Steve Rogers got the full finished version of the super soldier serum. And I think everyone else after that, we've seen Winter Soldier steal those blue packets in, Civil War. I think those are the serum, but they never got the full dose that Captain America got. I feel like these other people got like enough just to increase their strength, but I think in a one-on-one fight with Captain America, I don't think they would win compared with strength-wise and his peak level of ability.
But it's funny you say that. One of the things that always bothered me throughout the Marvel movies is I feel like his strength is so inconsistent. At times, he seems like he's as strong as fucking Superman or even the Hulk, but then other times it feels like he's not. And feels like he's still strong, but not as strong as he seems. It's like one scene he's holding a fucking helicopter and all, and then in other scenes he's strong, but he's not showing that level of strength, and that's what's so odd to me. Is it just me that they do that, or is that just me being a dick?
I think you're right on the money. Sometimes his strength is a little inconsistent. I definitely like when he was fighting Spider-Man. I think he actually only reason he was beating some of the people is because he knows how to fight. I think that gives him an edge too because he knows how to fight compared to Spider-Man obviously is stronger than him, but because he's better at fighting, that gives him a better edge.
Exactly, and that's what makes Steve Rogers as Captain America such a unique, amazing hero. Is that he's smart, he can fight, he has a heart of gold. And he uses that in every battle, every decision he makes, which makes you wonder, will this new Captain America live up to the old? Is he good? Is he evil? What's going to happen with Bucky and Sam? We will find out. But it is on Disney+. It's coming out once a week. I know that bothers you, David, because you're a bingy dude. You love to binge your ass off, and I know, does it bother you that you have to wait every week?
Yes, I have to wait every week.
Yeah,
I'm just like, come on. I guess we have been spoiled by Netflix.
We have, but it's in a way it's good. I think it's healthier for people because I know firsthand. Oh man, going down that dark hole of binging, you can lose a lot of sleep, and I have, and it's not good.
Oh yeah, that's a cool. Yeah, you just sit there and just watch. It's like one more episode. It'd be 5 a.m, and you're like, I gotta go to bed. I gotta work at 7, but let me get one more episode. They get one more episode. It's to the point where you watch so many episodes that they actually ask you, "Hey, are you still watching?" Hell yeah, I'm still watching.
That shit gets under my fucking skin, and I'm gonna go on a tiny rant about Netflix. Netflix, David, is a dick. I fucking hate when they do that. Sitting there, I have something on, as we all do. You're doing something else, and then it stops. Wait a minute. What? Oh, are you still watching this? Why, Netflix? I'm sorry. Am I fucking keeping you from something? Do you have something better to do? What do you give a shit if I'm watching it or not? Just play the fucking episode. Like, is there a little leprechaun in there just churning a wheel and he's like sweating? Like, listen, if you're not gonna watch this, yes, he's fully Irish leprechaun. If you're not gonna watch this, I'm going home. You know, like what is the big deal? Why do they care if we're watching or not? Just play it.
I will say I do like that they ask, because it kind of, if you not watching, let's say you fall asleep, it'll stop. Unlike HBO Max or Hulu, I have fallen asleep on watching shows on these two networks, and next thing you know, I wake up in the morning, 2 seasons pass. I'm just like, what the hell just happened?
But you know where you were. You can go back.
But it's just the fact that it's the fact that I have to go back. I just want to start from where I exactly left off. I'm lazy.
Oh, come on. You touch like 2 buttons. Maybe, all right, 3 buttons.
3 buttons. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. But yeah, that annoys the shit out of me with Netflix. It's like, just listen, I'm a Cobra Kai addict. Don't stop. Play it. I will deal with the consequences.
You play that shit.
Here in this dojo, we do not pause. Pausing is for the weak. You understand? Okay.
For the weak.
I'm done. All right. So in closing, Falcon and Winter Soldier is a home run. Marvel, Disney, doing it great on Disney Plus every week.
Yes, and speaking of Disney, Marvel, we might as well go to our next topic, which is
Bring it on.
Disney Plus in theaters. With, you know, they're doing this whole thing with I would say HBO Max started it.
Yeah.
Pushed it forward, same day release in theaters and movies in theaters. Right. And speaking of Disney, the long-awaited Black Widow movie, which we were supposed to get last year, got pushed back a year. Well, it got pushed back a couple times. Finally was, we thought was going to finally, things are kind of looking up a little bit with this coronavirus. So maybe we might get back to theaters. I don't know. I'm not the one to say. I'm actually pretty comfortable watching movies in my house in my underwear. That's just me. But
you're not alone.
What I'm saying is this. Finally, we thought it was coming out in May. They pushed that and a bunch of other movies back. But what did they also do, John? Now they was holding on firm that we're going to release this in theaters. We're going to drop Black Widow in theaters.
Nope. Not going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yes, and they finally gave in, and they're doing same-day releases. Well, I will say this, though. The thing that Disney has been doing with their top movies that you have to pay a premium to see it online.
Yes.
But they was holding out. They was holding out on this Black Widow to be out in theaters.
We're going to get into this now, because the whole discussion we're getting into, folks, is the future of movie theaters. Are they going to have the steam they used to? Because now it looks like all these movies from a year ago that were supposed to come out, and Lord knows a lot of them, I keep forgetting they're even coming. I'll be perfectly honest with you, and I'm a movie maniac. It sucks because coronavirus destroyed all this momentum for movies that were supposed to come out when they were supposed to. And now they tried to hold out like so many others. HBO Max, of course, like you said, being one of the first ones to do it, where they actually released it in theaters and on the HBO Max, but you do not have to pay an extra fee. And they're doing that with next movies coming out. Obviously, Kong vs. Godzilla, Mortal Kombat, that's all coming down the line. But Disney, on the other hand, is not releasing Black Widow, nor a bunch of other titles they have officially made the decision on, into theaters. Black Widow is actually going to be July 9th. It's coming on the Premier Access version of Disney Plus, the Premier Access model. It's going to cost $30 to watch that shit on Disney Plus. This is on top of the Disney Plus monthly subscription, or if you paid for the year. Before that, it will be Cruella. That's going to be the first, opening May 28th. Another ones that they are doing, it looks like Pixar's newest one, Luca, which is about a child who befriends another child who's actually a sea monster in disguise. Looks like that is going to be skipping the theaters, and it's going to be Disney Plus. Kind of like Soul did. Same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
Actually, with Luca, though, ironically, they are not going to charge extra. You can just, like Soul, you could just watch it on the Disney Plus for no extra fee.
That's good. Because also, I would just say, just a side note, Soul was really good. I teared up, but I thought it was really good.
Pixar never misses. I mean, they really, I really can't think of any movie they've done where people haven't adored it. They are so great at picking what they do, and
Mm-hmm.
their animation is second to none. They're always innovating. They're always pushing forward. I think the only
Mm-hmm.
disappointing one I've seen, honestly, was Toy Story 4 in terms of story, not the animation style, but it just felt like kind of a little bit of a cash grab. But that's another discussion for another day.
Yeah, but even when you think about it, even their lowest, if you want to say bar movie or their least
Yeah. favorable
movie,
It's
is still
phenomenal.
pretty good. So it's just like,
Yeah.
it's like it's still good. Like their worst movie is still better than a lot of other movies that came out. So like you said, they're just hit.
Absolutely. I mean, the worst Pixar movie is better than the majority of films probably that get released. Their quality is second to none, and they're so innovative. They've been so, oh my god, they paved so many roads, not just for animation, for cinema in general, and it just makes, and that's cool though that at least you get to see. And I can tell you right now, having a 6-year-old, I hate to say this, but when it comes to kids movies, dude, I've been getting spoiled like a motherfucker watching this shit at home. And I was a theater junkie just like you. But man, I don't want to turn my back on it. But at the same time, as a parent of a little kid, I can tell you right now, it has saved so many headaches and it's so much easier and comfortable, like you said, to ingest this at home versus a theater. Where, especially when you bring kids, those of you who have multiple kids, Jesus Christ, the money you got to shell out for snacks, beverages, tickets, and then they're running around the theater. And then you got that horrible thing where you got to take them to the bathroom, you miss something. That's another thing that is been very nice is the fact that if you gotta pee, do you remember when we saw Endgame and how everybody was just dying because they couldn't go to the bathroom? It was 3 hours. We held out. I didn't leave, but I saw grown men sprint out of there like they were Usain Bolt. It was nuts.
Yes, yeah, and it's funny because I feel like we planned ahead of time. It's like, all right, we know we don't want to miss anything, so I feel like we purposely did not even drink that much just so that we can be able to watch everything.
Yeah, and that's the advantage, unfortunately, of being able to do it at home is you can go to the bathroom when you want. You can watch in your underwear. You can have any food you want. You're not limited to the theater food. I mean, yes, they have dine-in and shit like that, but you could have pizza, wings, beer, whatever the fuck you want in your house. Like, and I know some people that have home theaters that to where then they have people over, but it's the people you know. You're not stuck in this theater. And one of the things that has pissed me off about recent years about going to theater is the sea of cell phone lights that keep taking me out of the fucking movie. That's not a problem anymore. No funky seats. I mean, don't get me wrong, the theatrical experience is incredible. I'm a little upset that with Kong versus Godzilla, probably not going to see it in theater because we're going to watch it here
That would
at
have,
home.
yeah, that would have been great to watch
I
in
mean, it
theaters.
is being released in theaters simultaneously with HBO Max. You do have the option if you want to go. But I can tell you right now, with things being uncertain about coronavirus and having a 6-year-old, I've already spoken to him about it, and he's totally fine watching at home. We're gonna do a whole thing. We're gonna get pizza. We're gonna get wings. We're gonna get cake to celebrate. Like, and it's gonna be awesome. He's gonna wear his King Kong shirt, Godzilla shirt. He's good to go. So from that perspective, and even if you're, having a date, the Netflix and chill's been taken to a whole nother level now. So it has a lot of advantages, but at the same time, what I wonder is, what about these movies now that they've held out on? Like, for example, the biggest one I can think of is the new James Bond film, No Time to Die, which, as you remember,
Yes.
they had all the promotion coming out just before Corona hit. Like, it was right on the verge of it, and even going so far as Daniel Craig starring on Saturday Night Live to promote it. Like, that was a lot of money they spent, and here we are, over a year later, no talk of that movie hitting any kind of streaming service. They're trying to hold out for that theatrical run, and I understand. I think a part of it, not just because they want big theater money, but a lot of the contracts these actors sign have back end deals, theatrical back end deals, which means whatever money is made on the theatrical run, they get a portion of that. And if it doesn't do that, then technically, via the contract, these actors might not be getting paid the disgusting amount of money they thought they were. However, that being said, my question to you is, with No Time to Die, right? They've spent all this money on promotion, millions of dollars. They have not released the movie. Well, I mean, do they really think they're going to be able to release this in a theater and they're going to get big theater money? Do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, especially even though everyone's getting their vaccine and taking care of it, it's like being in theaters in close, with everybody. They're gonna have to how many that means. When you think about it, if they try and make everyone 6 feet apart, you're losing seats technically too. You're losing those valuable customers.
And that's my question. Are they going to ever have the attendance that I mean, is attendance ever going to be, let's cut the shit. Is attendance ever going to get to what it was for theaters?
Not anytime soon.
No. So my question is, shouldn't they just release this fucking thing already?
But they still want to make their money. So it's also how do you measure, with box office is easy. You just count the ticket sales, how much money people are paying to get in. But streaming is how do you value how much you made?
I'm with you on that. I can't figure out how they know that. HBO, at least with the Disney, they're getting money not for for something like Soul, for example. You didn't charge extra for it. All the shit on HBO Max, you're not charging extra for. Justice League, Mortal Kombat, Kong vs. Godzilla, all this shit. How do you know, to count the money it makes? How do you do the math?
Yeah, I don't know. Especially on your own streaming website, because it's you already put the money in to make it. How do you recoup the money to make a profit?
Especially with budgets nowadays for these big movies, you're talking big money, tons of money, hundreds of millions of dollars in some cases, and these aren't cheap. So, and I just wonder though, but also especially in the terms of No Time to Die, the new James Bond film that they've been sitting on for over a year, aren't you also losing money because you're not doing anything with it? I mean, it's just sitting there, finished, ready to go, but what are you doing? Because you lost a lot of these movies too, and it's not their fault. A lot of it is Corona. There's this formula to building momentum, to building excitement to the release date, and now a lot of those balloons have been popped, man. The enthusiasm's gone down. A lot of these movies, time has gone by. I feel Black Widow's one of them, where it's so much time has gone by. It's oh yeah, that movie. So I think it's a wise move to just be you know what, let's just throw it on here. Charge $30 for it, that's fine. But my question also to you is, are you going to pay the $30 to watch Black Widow?
No, not at all. I actually thought about it. I was but still, no. I didn't pay for it when Mulan came out. I'm not paying for it for Black Widow. And also, it's just, I'm not paying it just based off the fact that I'm the only person watching. I'm not paying $30 to watch a movie by myself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you're splitting it amongst, if you're bringing a group over, I get that. If you have a bunch of kids, obviously you're saving money by paying $30. But for people, if you're just a couple watching it or you're watching it by yourself, who the fuck wants to spend $30 on a movie? And you don't even get to keep it. You know what I mean? You only get it for a small window of time, probably 24 to 48 hours max. That was actually one of the reasons that Trolls, the sequel to Trolls, made so much money, because when the pandemic first hit, they fucking made bank because they did that shit where they were charging to see Trolls a lot of money. Same thing. It was one of the first movies to do it. And kids, you good luck telling a little kid that, that's it. You only have it for 2 days. And especially when you get spoiled as parents, because you put that shit on and they get quiet and sit down, and you get to chill, sit down, have a conversation, and get to eat something, and they're actually quiet. And of course, if they start screaming and crying again and again, we want to watch it again, we want to watch it again. For those of you who don't have kids, it's easy to say, well, just don't do it. But believe me, when you're in the trenches, believe me, they break you. And that happened to a lot of parents, and they ordered it multiple times, which is why that movie made a lot of money.
But they also, I feel like they wasn't paying Disney prices. I think they was paying like the regular $15.99 or something like that. They weren't paying like $30.
Yeah, and that's what I feel it should be. I think $15 should be, because again, this is on a service that you're already paying money per month, or you're paying quite a bit to pay for the whole year. So if you tack on the $6.99 a month, you're paying $36.99 that month to watch one movie a couple times. And the question also remains, I mean, yes, Marvel's known for their home runs, but what if it sucks? What if you don't like it? Now you're out $30 and you didn't like the movie.
Yeah, because $30 is a lot to like lose out on.
Yeah, and in the end, you're watching this at home. At the end of the day, you're watching it at home. You're not in a theater. You're watching it at home. So, but maybe we should relax on that price a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's too much money for me. It's too rich for my blood. And like you said, I'm paying more money than I would to pay in a theater to watch it in my own home, which I can have my own food, make my own snacks. And you want me to pay $30 just to watch it in my couch?
Kiss my ass. No way.
Not at all.
No. But my question now is, they have moved other dates around. So the next Marvel movie up to bat, I believe, is going to be Shang-Chi. And they're saying we're gonna go for traditional theatrical release. Is that gonna happen? I mean, we're talking as soon as August, September, that time. Like, that's not that far away. It's got some months between it, but they really gonna pull that off, do you think? Do you think theaters are gonna be up and running to the point where you can release a movie that big and it's gonna actually get that big of attendance?
I think, well, I think with the trend now, because we have the vaccine, people are now, it's getting, it sucks because it's getting nicer, so everyone now wants to be outside. Like, I think if we didn't, like, have the vaccine, and now the weather's getting nice, people would have been still like, hey, I'm still going outside.
Yeah, they're going outside, but are they going to want to pile into a movie theater? Because the other thing you got to watch out for now is people are creatures of habit. And for many, many years, the habit was to see a new movie, you go to the movie theater. There was no alternative. That is what you did. So now there has become, over the past year, a new habit, which is I don't have to go anywhere. I can just sit my ass right here and watch it on my TV. And like I said, though the theatrical experience is amazing, it's something that should remain a part of our culture. For a lot of people, though, like I said, you've made it very accessible and easy and comfortable, and in a lot of ways, money saving. You don't have to spend gas. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to freak out about, oh no, I'm running late to make my time. You don't have to sit through a half hour of fucking previews. All these things now. You don't have, again, you have to go to the bathroom. You can just pause the movie. You don't have to worry about rushing, coming back. If you want a snack, you don't have to worry about, oh, I hope I don't miss something good to go get more popcorn. You can just do that. So the question is it really, are people going to go back to the theater like it was, or has this habit set in to where people are going to probably mostly stay home now?
I feel it's a mixture of both, because people are still, like you said, creatures of habit. People are still going out to the bars. They're still doing all that other stuff. But it's like, I feel like they'll pick and choose what they want to do. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, do I want to be in this dark space with all these people to watch this movie? But yet, I'll definitely go out to the bar to get a drink.
Yeah, that's what I see happening more. I definitely see, because we're all pent up, obviously. It's been a shitty year, for sure, for all of us. But I see more of definitely people going to the beach, going to bars, going out to eat, things like that. However, I just don't know if now, because again, our society has changed so drastically now. I'm just curious to see, vaccine or not. I mean, again, you've now offered this option that never existed before. That it's like, well, again, especially I can tell you right now, kids' movies, good fucking luck now that you did this. Good luck getting that back in theaters. But I think it's gonna work one of two ways. I think I wanted to run this by you real quick. I don't want to stay on the subject much longer, but
go ahead.
Do you feel now that because of this, it's going to put pressure on movie studios to make it more of a theatrical experience to force you to want to go to the movies, so that therefore movies then become more along the lines of like kind of like an attraction versus story driven. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
damn!
Like,
I hate that you that are destroyed. It's like we already kind of hate, not hate. We already get that kind of choice now. It's like, do we want? So now it's like another reason for them to like pick or choose. It's like I feel like either way we lose as fans,
yeah.
as avid watchers, or people who just enjoy movies. I feel like we end up getting shafted either way.
Yeah, this is going to affect things. I think it's still in the early stages, but I don't see this either way. This is not a good thing. It's not, because now you got release windows constantly being shifted, moved around. You have money being lost on marketing. You have, and that's the thing now, they don't know what to do now in terms of marketing, because it was very much scheduled out to where everybody locked in release dates, and then you schedule your merchandising and your marketing around that date and making a good time frame so that it builds up the momentum. You hit everything at the right time so you make the maximum profit. That's all gone to shit now. That is all, you can't predict anything now. So it's like, what's gonna happen?
I think they'll probably just move more towards digital or social media promotion, or just more internet. Because when you think about it now, they already release stuff on YouTube, trailers, clips. It's just that you just get that experience by watching the movie. Because how many times have we went in the movies and already seen the trailer at least 5-6 times already?
Absolutely. The internet has changed things drastically, because there was a time back in 1989 when the first Batman movie, which was the biggest thing in the world back then, because there had never been anything like it, to where the only way you could see that trailer when it first came out, is before the internet. It was attached to some movie, I forget, but people were paying to go into this movie just to see the Batman trailer and leaving, because that's the only way. They were so clamoring for it. It was the biggest thing in the time. The level of that movie is still this day pretty unmatched, how huge it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people had to do, kids, back then. If you wanted to see a movie trailer, that's what you had to do. You had to get your ass to the movie theater, find out what movie it was attached to, and get your ass in there to see it. There was no internet. And even TV spots, by the time they played, it was very close to the movie being released, and not every movie got a TV spot, and they would be very brief. So to see that nowadays, like you said, you go to the movies, you sit through a half hour of previews, and you've seen every single one because they've been online now for weeks.
I think, yeah, they just need to they're just going to it just now, I feel like with this pandemic, it just forces them more to be in a digital space and more into it might turn the whole culture where we don't even have to go outside anymore. We're already getting everything delivered through us through Uber Eats, Grubhub, Amazon. Now you can just watch. You don't have to buy video games from the store anymore. You don't have to buy movies, watch movies. You literally do not even need to leave your house. You don't even have to leave your house for work right now.
That's where everything is taking a complete 180, because back even 30 years ago, not that long ago, everybody had to leave their house for everything. You had, if you wanted to know what's going on in the news, this is before the internet, you had to buy a newspaper or a magazine. If you wanted to get food, you had to either pick up a phone and call to have stuff delivered. But it's not like now where you have a ton of variety. It was simple stuff like pizza and Chinese, essentially, with a couple little things mixed in. But everything else, if you wanted gourmet food or something exotic, you had to leave the house. If you wanted to go shopping, you had to leave the house. They had catalog shopping that you call on the phone, but it's not like now where it's click, click, done. So yes, we've come 180 to where it's becoming like Wall-E, where we're never going to leave the house pretty soon. I feel like we're headed down that road. It's a dangerous path. We got to watch it, because you will be missed if we end up down that path.
Wall-E.
It was awesome. Another Pixar masterpiece. But yes, we will find out what happens. Either way, we're on board. I'll be seeing Black Widow, but I'm not paying no $30 fucking on that shit. And I'm a Marvel fan, so I'll hang in there and wait. I've waited this long. What's the fucking difference, right?
Yeah, I'll wait for it to come on DVD or Blu-ray. I mean, I was gonna buy it anyway, so it's just like
Right. It is a Blu-ray that I'll be buying. You know another Blu-ray I'm going to be buying, David? When it fucking releases? The Snyder Cut of Justice League. We teased it at the beginning of this episode. You waited patiently. We are diving into it now. It hit HBO Max with a vengeance. 4 hours of this motherfucker. Justice League, the way it was supposed to be seen. Zack Snyder's true vision finally coming to fruition after a terrible tragedy of losing his daughter. Forced him to step down, and another director took over, Joss Whedon, releasing the theatrical cut, which was only 2 hours long and a complete mess, a disappointment, made money but not as much as it should have, and it's been a horrible, horrible ride. Afterward, we definitely had to wait for this. There was a fan petition, and screaming fans over the years have said and wanted the Snyder Cut to see Zack Snyder's full vision come to life. There was rumors of all this footage that he shot. Come to find out it was true. He got his wish. He finished it. He forced Warner Brothers to make sure the effects were done right, and we got it. David, what did you think of the Snyder Cut?
It was glorious. Like, I did not even mind that it was 4 hours because that just made it, like, I just tuned in every minute. I was like, yes, more. But it gave us everything that he set up in the first two movies of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. It gave us all of that. It completed that story. It completed that trilogy. I don't even call it trilogy. It made sense. Like, it's so crazy because there's really two different movies. And John, you know how I go on my tangent about how I hated the Flash.
Oh boy.
It was that good that the Flash character was better. Even it's like every character just got elevated into a point where it made sense. Like, the Flash looks stupid, and Batman. You know how people joke about Batman not being able to do anything around superheroes. That original Justice League movie with Joss Whedon really proved that point. Like, Batman is just useless in a sense. At least in this one, he was more of a badass. He was able to keep up in his own way. He was able to hold his weight per se. That's why I say he was able to hold his weight. And when he stood against these Titans, he stood proud. He was not like cowering, like He was just like, if you come at me, come at me.
I couldn't agree more with everything you said. This definitely felt like the third entry in that film series. This felt like the right sequel to Batman v Superman. I loved how what we have seen before looked different because his cinematography was in there. The lighting was the way he wanted it. And like you said, everyone fared better. Flash was a little better, but not great. I still say it should have been Grant Gustin. He is the Flash, and this dude, Ezra, I'm still not sold on him as the Flash. However, he did come out much better in this version. I think the scenes of him were much better. They had more to do. Everybody looked better. Like you said, Batman was the badass we remember, not the way he was portrayed in that theatrical cut. It was kind of a joke. Aquaman, always great. Jason Momoa, all his personality came through. Everybody had their moments, but the one who really I see got screwed by that theatrical cut and really shined was Ray Fisher as Cyborg.
Oh my God, did he? Yeah, he really. I don't know how to really. It's just they really dicked us over and gave us that bullshit of a movie. It's like seeing this Snyder cut, even if they trimmed it down to more, time consuming, with the Zack Snyder cut. They really gave us some bullshit, and it's like it's really apples. Yeah. You can't even say it's apples to oranges. It's just milk and spoiled milk. What we got was spoiled milk.
No, I'll put it to apples and shit. That's what I'll put it as, because that theatrical cut is such a jumbled mess, and it's blatantly obvious. There's two different directors. You completely tell. There's just tonally all over the place. There's weird plot holes all over the place. It doesn't add up. A lot of things feel very rushed, and then you had the terrible CGI on Henry's face. It's just terrible. The one-liners they threw in, and it's just nobody. It just didn't work out well. It felt like there was the wrong things were missing, and the things that were added were not good. Here, yes, it was 4 hours. I could argue there was some stuff in there that probably, even in the 4-hour cut, some little things in there I saw kind of as filler, kind of could have, in my opinion, could have snipped, but all in all, that was the smoothest 4 hours I've ever seen. It went by
Yes.
very well. It was so well done. I'm so happy that this got done. It was so important that this get finished for a multitude of reasons. And Zack Snyder, he is, God, the guy is such a genius filmmaker. And even, I especially loved that on Themyscira. It had a whole new look now. It felt very much like
Yep.
300 almost, and it was so great.
Mm-hmm.
And the women were badass. It was so awesome. Loved all of it.
And you know what's even like the action scenes were a lot better, and like it wasn't even like it was, even though the action scenes were longer, it felt like there was more complete. It felt like
Yes.
it wasn't not. I can't even say the original ones were rushed or shortened, but it just felt more engaging. We got more meat. We got more meat.
This is the difference between when a filmmaker does a movie and a studio handles a movie. This right here, if you really want to see how stupid a studio is and how brilliant of a filmmaker is, and why the two sometimes where maybe the studio should just shut the hell up and stay out of the way. This is a perfect example, because when the studio did their thing and shut this shit into 2 hours and made Joss Whedon do all these things and did all these rewrites and everything, it is not Joss Whedon's fault. It is the studio. They did this. They demanded the rewrites. They demanded the reshoots. They hired him on, and again, I know there's a lot of bad stuff going about Joss Whedon right now. I don't know him as a person. I don't condone any of his behaviors, whatever. That's between him and those people. I'm talking about him as a filmmaker on Justice League. He gets a lot of shit for that theatrical cut. Remember, he was a hired gun. It wasn't his film. It was Zack Snyder's film. He was brought on to finish. He is being controlled by that studio. He's being told what to do. It is really not his say. So the choices that were made were that of the studio. And like you said, you could see the complete difference all in all of how this felt like a real film. This had, like you said, the action scenes were crafted. They weren't just chopped together. The story was actually paced in a way to where everybody got their moment. Everything was organic. Everything made sense. Steppenwolf looked fantastic. Do you know they changed his look for the theatrical cut because supposedly he was too scary? I didn't see that at all.
It fit because it's just like that Steppenwolf, like the Zack Snyder Steppenwolf seemed more intimidating, more. I mean, if you felt scary, sure, whatever, but he felt he felt like more of a badass.
Like, that's who works for Darkseid. And let's get into that. What'd you think of Darkseid?
Oh man, Darkseid was the bad evil villain I expected him. It's like seeing it live action. I think in my head I couldn't picture how he would be played, but seeing it in live action, I'm like, okay, this is how I imagine. Now that I see it, it's like, yes, this is it. And he just was so brooding and badass, and just how everyone just was like the big bag just hovering over Steppenwolf and every move he made. He just wanted to get home, and Darkseid was like, paid him no mind. Even when he stared down the Justice League at the end, he just looked at him, was just like, fine, we'll do it the old way.
Yeah. He came out fantastic, and I was with you. I was very skeptical on how he would transcend a film, because he's a character that when you see him, it's like, how is this going to work? But they did it, and that flashback sequence, holy shit, to the original battle, the OG battle, between what you would call the first Justice League in a way. They didn't say that officially, but, there they were. We had a lantern fighting in there, and that was so freaking cool. And all that stuff was awesome.
Yeah, we got more of that, and it was just get a whole fight scene. Like I said, I love the extended fight scenes. I love all the extra explanations. And one thing, like we talked before off record or off the podcast, was like the scenes made sense. Like in the original I don't even want to call it the original. The Joss Whedon Justice League, Batman, was in the fighting the parademon, which didn't really make sense. Blah blah blah, whatever. And then he goes to find Aquaman, but how did he grow that beard?
Yeah, that's such a bizarre thing in the theatrical version. You first see him on the rooftop, and he catches that criminal, and he catches the parademon. And then that's what's so odd, is the passage of time in the theatrical cut makes no sense. Then, like you just said, they cut to him finding Aquaman. He has a full beard Then he's on a jet and he shaves it. And it's like, what the fuck? What is this? It literally made it look like it was the next morning. Whereas here, you find out that to get to this village is not easy. That most people can't even do it, and they don't even believe that Bruce Wayne pulled it off. And that makes sense that he had the beard. Like, this was a long journey, and he did it on horseback. And he didn't start out the movie without the beard. That's actually the first time we see him.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene made a lot more sense. And then he's on the plane, then he shaves. That makes way more sense and is way more organic than the theatrical horse shit.
It was just beautiful, John. It was just a very beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. I already watched it 3 times.
Did you really? You put in 12 hours?
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yes.
You're devoted, my friend.
I think just as a fanboy, just as a love for just these movies, it was just like it like almost brought me to tears of like. Because I think because we heard so much behind the scenes drama, we know what the studio did. It's like we heard so much, we saw so many reports, we saw all the stupid mistakes they did, and then the fans just like rallied. And then I think what even made it worse is the things they did to Zack Snyder after his daughter died. We understand it. Some of the people in the audience would probably understand too. It's like we've been to these conventions and stuff like that. It's like its own little world, its own little community. Everyone's like equal footing. You can feel the love in the room. There's no judgment.
No, never.
It's just we're all there because we're all love it that much. You see people dressed up and all this good stuff. It's like a good vibe. And the fact that it was like being in that room again, you kind of like felt the collective, like we want this Snyder cut. We want this Snyder cut. We want it, and it happened. It happened, John.
I know.
How many times?
I didn't think it would.
How many times have we seen this happen before? I feel like none.
Never. The closest I can think of is the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2 coming, but that didn't even, because they had so much that they couldn't finish, and a lot of the footage they used was, some of it was some audition footage, because obviously Chris Reeve passed away, and they tried what they could with what they had, and you definitely got an idea of the film. I don't think it really works so much, and I'm the biggest Richard Donner Superman fan ever. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I was very, very, very excited to see it because it was the same thing. I heard these rumors of this. I heard there were scenes of Chris Reeve and Marlon Brando. They never saw the light of day, and it was so great hearing it, and fans rallied behind it, but they gave them a very small budget to do it, to kind of put it out, and it was kind of half-assed. Whereas here, to see something not only get its release, but get the big budget treatment to where they finished all these effects, they even did a couple reshoots. This is historical, and it was so crucial that this happened. And it is, look, as a fan, you have to enjoy this. Now I'm going to say something really quick, David. This is from the heart here.
Go ahead.
There is a man you and I both met by the name of John Stepp. He is the man that made the documentary The Death of Superman Lives What Happened. He was such a big-hearted personality. Most comic book fans, I feel, know who he is. Big guy, beard. David and I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple years at New York Comic Con. Super sweetheart, great guy. And he was someone who was very big on seeing the Snyder Cut. He was talking about it years ago on his show, and he couldn't wait to see it, and he passed away very unexpectedly.
That hurt my heart.
So think about that. He never got to see that, and we did. We're still here, and if you're still here too, and you got to see it, you should be very thankful that you're in that position, because life is precious and short, and things like this don't happen often. And if you're a fan of this stuff, remember, there are fans of this that didn't get to see it, and now you did. And that's how I feel. And I went in, I purposely avoided the trailers. I didn't want to really see too much. I saw a little bit, but that was it. And I just I loved all of it. I'm so happy it happened. And like I said, and as a Superman fan, oh my God, my Henry got his due. This poor guy who's gotten the shaft from Warner Brothers so bad, as we've gone over in other episodes, he finally his Superman, which up until now his last appearance would have been him with a terrible CGI face. Now he had validation. He looked great in the black suit. The action was great, and I love too. I want to throw this in there too. It was so nice that his Man of Steel theme by Hans Zimmer was pounding throughout, and Batman's Hans Zimmer theme from Batman v Superman was pounding in the theatrical cut. If you guys remember, for Batman's opening scene, they weaved in Danny Elfman's score from Michael Keaton's Batman, and for Henry Cavill's Superman, they weaved in John Williams' Superman theme, which was for Christopher Reeve, which I thought was...
I hated when they did that.
Me
Because it just felt
too.
like it was just so forced.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem like it was organic or that it deserved to be in that scene.
No,
Or
because
those scenes that they did play.
that's not their themes. That's Michael Keaton and Christopher Reeves. They have their own themes. And here, to hear it when he came out in the black suit, and obviously they did some... I could tell that was a new recording. Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe as Jor-El and Jonathan Kent. They're, saying that awesome stuff to him, and it was so beautiful. And then, just like a throwback to the 2013 Man of Steel, he put his fist down, the ground started moving, he took off into the air, and it was incredible. He was so good, and he looked great. The black suit looked great, and in the end, everyone came out on top in this. Do you agree?
Everyone. Also, one of my highlights of this movie was when Superman showed up and how he showed up.
Oh.
I was like, that is so badass. He just stopped that axe and so just like not impressed. I was like, where did he come from? I was like, what? My God. Like he really just like the way he just popped in was so badass. Compared to Joss Whedon's was like, I believe in truth and justice. What? It's just like he just came in, just flew out of nowhere. It's just like he came in and was like, I'm Superman, bitch.
Yes, he definitely got to finally be that Superman, and it was also much better. I think his return from the dead was much more. I think it landed much better. I think that it was shot much better. Him not really kind of being a little evil, but not knowing who he was. I thought that was kind of cool. And it definitely showed he didn't just kind of push them around. No, he was trying to fucking kill them all. And especially when he got Batman down and he was burning with the heat vision, I was like, oh my God.
But it was like he was going hand. He was really just beating the crap out of him. But it was just like everything about. I think also like you said, how he came back, like the whole voiceover between his father, like Jor-El and his Jonathan Kent. Yes, it's so impactful. It was like it made you swell with hope and remember why he is there.
Yeah, and even the only scene where it was like it really had made no difference to me was when he talked to Alfred, because I've seen it so many times. That brief little, but it was actually great too that Bruce actually said to Alfred, "I know he's gonna come. Watch me." Like, so, and that made more sense when Alfred sees him to say, "Master Kent." He that worked way better than him just randomly showing up and Alfred being like, "Master Kent." It's like, wait, how do you know him?
But it just like you said, everything. He's like, and you see the difference in Batman. He was, even though he was still kind of brooding, it was more hopeful brooding. Like he was more hopeful for. He's still gonna be Batman and be a badass, but he's gonna still be hopeful. It was like I don't know how to. It was just so much better, John. That's all I can say. It was just that much better.
He was inspired by hope because that's what Superman inspired him to do, and that's where he had changed. But he was still the badass, and yes, thank God he turned out so much better in this. And my favorite Batman moment is when he turned the light off. It felt very Nolan-esque, and the parademons come, and then he fires up the Batmobile, and holy shit, when he's flying backwards in that thing, shooting them, and he's driving backwards, I was like, wow. Now they even made a Batmobile scene. This is phenomenal, and I love that they cut out. There was no that weird random family in the Joss Whedon version.
Oh, thank God,
that was gone.
That family made no sense.
No weird scene of the Flash pushing a truck while Superman's like carrying a building. That's gone. But I just wanted to ask you really quick. Come to think of it, was there anything from the theatrical cut that you missed? And it's okay if you did. I mean, and for those of you out there, if you prefer the theatrical cut over Snyder, it's all good, man. If you prefer the Whedon cut, that's on you. That's fine. I'm not trying to judge you if you are. But my question to you, David, is being that you love this one so much more like I did, was there anything you missed from the theatrical cut?
Nope, not one thing.
Yeah, it really, it's tough to even say. I was trying to think, you know, one could mention maybe if you enjoyed that opening Batman scene in the theatrical cut where he catches the criminal. I mean, and
No, because it didn't fit the. It still felt too lighthearted. It just didn't
it
fit the
did.
tone.
It did, especially when the guy comes hopping out, tied up. I'm like, oh my god, this is a joke.
And also, I just thought about it too. You know how the when he captured the parademon and he exploded and somehow 3 box marks landed on the what? That doesn't
No,
make sense.
here it was handled much better, and I really love the whole the way that it looked like they failed when Ray Fisher's like, oh no, it didn't work, and the Flash didn't get to him in time, and it actually caused Barry to actually have to do something in this version instead of just trip over his own feet all the time, as we've talked
Mm-hmm.
about.
That part killed me because I was like, wait, what happened? And what was crazy was the fact that they actually failed, and I was not expecting
Yeah.
that. I was not expecting them to like they really failed to the point where they all pretty much just exploded and
Yeah.
died. And then the last thing was Barry Allen right at the right moment came in and saved the day, and I was like, this is so amazing. That the fact
Yeah.
that he went back in time, I was like, oh my god,
Mhm.
this is everything we needed. This is everything we wanted, John. Oh my god.
It was, and everybody got their part. And Zack Snyder did say this is supposed to be the bridge between Batman v Superman and Aquaman, the movie Aquaman. This does take place before that. Something that's probably a little weird for those that don't know that to grasp
Mm-hmm.
because of the timing of it, but this is supposed to be the in-betweener, and it definitely worked very well in that regard. And also, how awesome was it to see a cameo of a certain Justice League member who was in Man of Steel and in front of us the entire time, and Batman v Superman, a certain Martian Manhunter.
That part was beautiful, and like when you saw, he was like kind of like low key manipulating the scenes, but he was like, "Hey, they need you. They need you." He gave people just enough hope and clues so they can do the things themselves. He was like, if they're lost, he'll come in and it's like, "Hey, why don't you try it this way?" And they'll do. And it's just like he just gave just enough.
And it was so cool because if you remember in Batman v Superman, he was meeting with Lois Lane, helping her out, giving her information and stuff, and we first saw him in Man of Steel, and no indication whatsoever that he was Martian Manhunter, but now it's something fun to go back and look at, like, oh my god, he was the Martian Manhunter the whole time.
Exactly.
What did you think of the CGI on him?
Could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I kind of same, but hey, it was nice though. It was still could have been way worse.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like it just fit the tone of everything that they had, so it didn't feel too off with the CGI.
I gotta say though, they got the perfect guy for that, and I wondered why, when they initially announced Batman v Superman, when that was going to be the sequel and not Man of Steel 2, he was the one. Henry Lennox, the actor playing Martian Manhunter, was the one that came out and announced the title, like kind of said this, gave the line from World's Finest, and they put up the logo, and I was like, why would they have him come out? Like, he's just a general. Oh, this is why, because all along he was going to be the Martian Manhunter. I did notice though that when at the end, when Martian Manhunter visits Bruce Wayne, that's clearly a reshoot. Obviously, that's a new scene. But the other big new scene. I mean, obviously we can't get in every detail of this. It's 4 hours long. It's on HBO Max. Watch it. You will not regret it. But the biggie, the big scene that they obviously was shot new, was a certain, once again, Bruce Wayne getting these visions of the future, was that of a dystopian future where he had on his team Deathstroke, who we got to see Joe Manganiello back in the role, and a certain Jared Leto Joker, a scene I know you were looking forward to, as you are someone who supports the Jared Leto Joker. A lot of people do not, and you like him, so which is fine. Everyone, it's cool.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I really like him. I just want to see the potential that he
Right.
has. Yeah, it's like I know we're not getting what we can get out of him, and it's like it's infuriating me because I know he can give us something we never seen before, at least a good take. Because honestly, he has to live up to Heath Ledger, legendary way he played what he did with the Joker,
Yes.
and Joaquin Phoenix did a very good job playing the Joker, but it sucks that we didn't. It like we got Heath Ledger, then we got his Joker, which didn't really make sense per se in the Suicide Squad, and then right after that we got the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, which blew everybody away. So it's like I saw the potential, and I was like, I know we can get something good. I felt like his rendition was something we never seen before of a Joker.
So what did you think of his scene here? So just to set it up, spoilers again. You find out it's a dream afterward, but it's obviously a world where Darkseid has taken over. Some Justice League members have fallen. It's Batman, Deathstroke, the Flash is there, and he looks the way he did in Batman v Superman, where he appeared to Bruce Wayne in the vision saying Lois is the key. And then they kind of pull a glance over, and someone is sitting on the hood of a car, and it is Jared Leto's Joker. What'd you think?
I feel like that scene, even though I was looking forward to it, it was like a little drawn out. I think what really took me out was just the close-ups. So much of the close-ups.
Right? Me too. Like, it felt weird. Like, why do we need to be so close up? I think that probably had to do with COVID and having to keep them distant from each other. That's the only reason I could think, because obviously they had to be aware of that and being in the same space, because that was a reshoot that was done recently. So
yeah, that was a reshoot. Yes.
So that's, I think, why they did that. It was a little odd because the rest of the movie is not shot that way. But you do hear here what was never quite explained in Suicide Squad, and in Batman v Superman, we find out, they don't say it per se, but Robin died, and it's sort of, as David Ayer of Suicide Squad explained, I only know this because, again, we live for this shit, is that Joker killed Robin, and Batman hit him so hard he broke all of his teeth, which is why he had the grill in Suicide Squad. It wasn't him just doing that for vanity. It's because Batman busted his teeth. And here, we actually hear the Joker say that he killed Robin, an adopted son. And it was pretty awesome hearing Batman pretty much almost lose it and say, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was like, Batman. Right. I was like, I guess he's continuing that trend of, Batman is going crazy. Not crazy, like he's a more darker Batman, because, in the nightmare scene, he was shooting. He was definitely shooting the gun and killing people. So now.
But yeah, so I mean, all in all, turned out beautifully. I'm going to buy the shit out of it when it comes out on Steelbook.
Oh, I cannot wait. I'm already just in anticipation. Just let me know when it drops. I need like a notification of when it drops.
Now, Warner Brothers, being the super duper studio they are, has said that this movie is not canon. The Snyder Cut is not canon. There will be no more Snyderverse. They confirmed there will be no David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. This Snyderverse is not continuing on. But it kind of is, because Affleck's supposed to be in Ezra Miller's Flash, and he's in this role, but whatever. So
my thing is, I feel like this movie did so good, such rave reviews, it's almost like no choice. It's almost like they almost forced their hands, like we want more. Like if we can bully the studio to give us a Snyder Cut, we can bully them to give us a Justice League or a continuation of what Snyder has done.
And I agree, because I read in an interview with him, with Zack Snyder, he's revealed what the sequels were going to be, man. And essentially, Darkseid would have gotten his revenge. We would have had evil Superman versus the Justice League, and it was going to be about a ragtag group of Justice League members pulling off a crazy mission to steal a mother box from this half-destroyed cathedral in Gotham and get it back to the Batcave in order to use it to power the cosmic treadmill to jump Flash back in time. Because apparently, what was supposed to happen about Lois is the key is Bruce Wayne, Batman, is supposed to sacrifice his life to protect Lois. He doesn't do that. So everything goes to shit, which is why the Flash kind of has to go back through time and fix it. And what it ends up leading to in the final movie is that Aquaman leading the forces of Atlantis, Diana leading the forces of Themyscira, Superman turns good again, and so him and Flash leading the forces of humans against Darkseid in a giant
Mm-hmm.
war. And the Green Lanterns were going to be involved. That was going to be the inclusion of that. Also, the Asian doctor who took over Star Labs, he was going to end up being the Atom. They were setting that up as well.
Yes.
And the craziest part, which I couldn't wait to tell you, is the way it was going to end was, do you notice that Lois Lane was pregnant in this version of Justice League?
Yes. I mean, I saw it. I saw it, but I didn't really see it. I was like, wait, what? Like, I was like doing a dope, and he lingered on it for so long. It was like you had no choice but to see it. And I was like, wait, are they gonna have it? Are they gonna have a child? Is that what's gonna happen? Is that what we're getting?
Also, if you pay attention at the end, when the farm scene where Clark is talking to Bruce Wayne, he thanks him. Bruce says to him, "Oh, by the way, congratulations." That was on the pregnancy. Uh-huh. And what was going to happen at the very obvious, now this is probably going to break your heart, but once the timeline was fixed, Batman was going to die. He was going to sacrifice himself to protect Lois. Okay?
Mhm.
So, her and Clark have a child, and they name him Bruce Kent. He has no powers, but they flash forward to 20 years later, take him down to the Batcave, and say that essentially Uncle Bruce would have been so proud of you, and he becomes the new Batman.
That would have been amazing if they did that. It's like
I know. I couldn't wait to tell you.
I remember reading. I saw art like the what's the word? Not the actual article, but like the title. I was like, wait, what? And it's just that it's like we could have got all this, and then Warner Brothers just like I
Fucks it all up.
I just want them to fire everybody. Fire everybody.
David, I've told you time and time again, this studio does nothing but fuck up comic book movies, disappoint fans, raise your hopes, and ultimately break your heart. And they do it over and over and over and over again. They've done it forever, and I'll save that rant for another day. I will show you since the fucking 80s they have done this, and it's atrocious. And as you saw with the theatrical cut, when they took the reins, you saw what happened. Okay. And just a little side note for you all out there, if you want to know how stupid they really are, they were going to release the Snyder cut with the scenes added in unfinished, no effects, just throwing them in there and piecing it together and spitting it out. And it was Zack Snyder that said no.
They was gonna further ruin his vision.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, the only reason any DC movie, right, does well is because you had a filmmaker behind the camera who knew what they were doing and put up a hell of a fight against that studio. And it is an exhausting battle they all have to go through. And when it's not, it means that director lost the battle. That's pretty much my opinion on that.
I'm just happy that we got this version and that it's still up there so I can watch it again. I could not get enough. Like you said, I can't wait for it to come on DVD, Blu-ray, because you know what's funny, John? As I was looking, just a side note, I was looking for our physical recommendation DVD. I was like, Justice League was so bad. I was like, well, I would never buy it. And then lo and behold, I saw that I did buy it. I think I bought it just to like keep with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. I was like, I guess I'll get Justice League.
Oh, I have it too. Well, I'll tell you why I bought it, because I genuinely thought that we would never see the Snyder Cut. I knew that it underperformed, and I knew that there was not going to be a Justice League movie anytime soon. So I figured, you know what? This may not be the best, but it's the only Justice League movie we're going to have. So I'm going to grab this and cherish it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I was trying to do that thing where I was trying to like watch it again and again to convince myself it wasn't a pile of shit, and trying very hard to like convince myself it's pretty good. And it was rough. No, I couldn't do it.
It was rough, and like you said, it's rough. But even it's more rough that we can see both versions, and it's just like it's just night and day.
Oh, night and day. Yep.
And with that, I think it's that time for us to give our physical media recommendation.
Physical media recommendation.
Woo! And I think, and our theme for this time is guilty pleasures.
Oh, yeah.
Like your guilty pleasure DVD that you watch and you just like, you already know. It's just like you don't feel bad for watching it, but you gotta watch it. It's like, but it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, every collection has it. I don't care who you are. We all have those movies. Of course, it's easy to say out loud, oh, I like this movie or that movie because it's cool or whatever. Like, you could say, oh, yeah, Avengers Endgame is great. But the question is, how many of you have the balls to say, you know what's great? Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. Let's see you stand by that. You know, we all have these things in our collection. It's okay. It's okay. The guilty pleasures need love too. And if you notice, you're probably not the only one that likes that guilty pleasure. Typically, there are certain films that have that. I know mine definitely has a worldwide guilty pleasure love for it. But that's our theme this week. David, what the hell do you have? Because that's the other thing, by the way, folks. We don't tell each other what we're going to do.
No.
So I have no idea what he's going to say. He's kind of teased it, but I have no clue. All right, David, hit me. What is your guilty pleasure?
My physical media recommendation of guilty pleasures is the classic, or at least I think. I love this movie. I watch it. It is just hilarious. It's White Chicks, starring the Wayans brothers, Sean and Marlon Wayans.
Good choice. White Chicks all the way. Yeah, definitely a guilty pleasure. I don't even know where to begin.
It's just so crazy. It's just so bonkers that they actually made this movie and they got away with it.
Boy, did they. I mean, it's so bizarre. It's the Marlon and Sean Wayans, the Wayans brothers, coming together where they, I guess, went in whiteface and became white women.
Yes.
And, oh my God. And they were so funny. And this marked probably one of the earliest roles of the great Terry Crews.
Oh my God.
Actually, it's funny. He's so fucking funny in this movie. To me, he is the best part of the movie. But yeah, it is their makeup. I know they put a lot of work into making them look like white chicks. Was so bizarre and kind of scary. It kind of adds to the cheesiness and definitely the guilty pleasure part of it, for sure.
Yes. I need you, and I miss you, and now I wonder. Oh my God! Yes, this is the movie. It's just pure nonsense. Like, yes, I can watch this every day, all day.
Yeah, you're not alone. I mean, I feel it's that movie where it didn't get well reviewed. It did pretty good at theaters, but I literally know no one that hasn't seen it. Like everyone, and I think whenever you bring it up, people laugh. I think it's definitely that thing where I 100% agree with you. It's probably not the first movie people want to say they own and love, so it definitely is a perfect guilty pleasure. But you can't help but love it. You can't help it.
Yes. What a beautiful chocolate man. I just had to do that. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
I love that you did. I've heard you do that so many times. Now I love that you worked it into this episode.
Thank
Amazing.
you. Please go with yours. I'm dying to hear what yours is.
I know you're worried that I would pick the same thing you did, but no. I went another road. I went down the horror road. It's a horror film. It's an 80s. It's made in the 80s. And it marked the only... Now you had... Okay, so Stephen King, right? Brilliant writer, wrote a lot of books. A lot of his books got made into movies. One of my all-time favorites is Christine, John Carpenter. I can't say enough about it. But I got this weird addiction, David, where I'm very into killer car movies. I know it's a very weird part of horror, but I am. And one of the great ones is the only time Stephen King decided, you know what? I'm tired of other people directing my films. I'm going to get behind the camera and do it. It was Maximum Overdrive. That's my guilty pleasure.
With Emilio Estevez?
Emilio Estevez. The only time Stephen King directed a movie, he pretty much was on cocaine the entire time. It's made very clear. And when asked, how come you never directed a movie again? He said, just watch Maximum Overdrive. And I feel that's a little harsh because this movie is just so much fun. It's, cars and trucks becoming pretty much self-aware and
Mm-hmm.
killing people mercilessly, even machines. There's a great scene. One of my favorites is the soda machine, a lawnmower, all these amazing, all this madness to a soundtrack by AC/DC. I mean, you got Emilio Estevez in his prime running around. You got a lot of recognizable faces in this, and it's crazy. And for comic book fans, what's really cool is the main evil truck running the show amongst all of them, which I say this shit out loud now and I'm like, oh my god, this is so bad. But it was actually it was a toy truck for a toy store, and it
Mm-hmm.
had the Green Goblin face on the front, the Spider-Man Nemesis Green Goblin. So it's got all this shit in it. It's madness, and it's so good. It's so violent. And now the great thing is, the version I have is the Vestron video. I waited a long time to get this version because it was rumored, sort of like the Snyder Cut. There was a version of this that was out there that was more violent. There's a child that gets
Really?
run over, and the scene is in here, and it's so great. It's on the Collector Series Blu-ray. I highly recommend everybody get this. It's loaded with special features galore. They do a great job. They're very similar to Scream Factory. Just great packaging, great special features, and like I said, the movie looks fantastic. It has a beautiful HD makeover. I can remember seeing this on TV, and this is based on Stephen King's story Trucks. There was actually a remake of Maximum Overdrive made in the '90s called Trucks, and it's all right, but it's not this. This is madness. This is definitely cocaine fueled '80s cheese, and you fucking love it. You can't help but love this movie. It's so bad, but it's so great.
I'm glad you picked that movie because just the fact that he was on a coke binge and made that, and it was just, you say it was nuts, with Emilio Estevez, the guy from Mighty Duck fame.
There he is. Yep. He's before. There you go, kids. He's about to return, begrudgingly. It looks like in the new Mighty Ducks show coming to Disney Plus. You want to see young Emilio before he took on the coach of being the coach of the Mighty Ducks? Check him out here, kids. Kicking ass, taking names, no joke, in Maximum Overdrive.
Perfect.
Yeah, and a little trivia, by the way, because I'm such a junkie with all this stuff. Stephen King wrote Christine, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he wrote the book, and John Carpenter made the movie. Well, when you see Christine being sentient, in other words, driving by herself in Christine, there's this like weird green kind of hue in the sky. The same sky, the same thing in the sky is actually in the sky in Maximum Overdrive, which kind of makes it a bit of a shared universe in a way, unofficially.
Okay.
So, but this is such batshit craziness. If you like horror, if you like '80s movies, and you just want to have a good time and see something nuts, and if nothing more, to see why the one and only movie the legendary Stephen King directed. You gotta have this in your life, David. You just have to have it.
Now I might have to get it. And I have to get the violent version you was talking about.
Oh yeah, get the Vestron. I'd recommend that to everyone. You can get this on DVD very cheap, but even this version, the Vestron Video Collector's Series, they do. You have to have this version. Believe me, I think it's like $24. It's not a lot. You can get it Best Buy, Amazon, all those places. And hey, don't be afraid to go online and buy used. I do it all the time, and I've gotten so many discs that look brand new. It's fine. So, and with that, it looks like we ready to wrap up, sir.
I believe so. I would like to thank everybody for sticking with us on this episode. It was a good episode, especially the Justice League. I just think that was just a highlight. That made history. I'm glad we was alive for this. Everything came together, and I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Same here, David, and thank you for doing this. Thank you all for listening. Once again, I am John Kent. He is David Coy. Check out his photography, farfromcoy.com. If you're in the tri-state area of the United States, you can find no better photographer, my man, my friend, my confidant on this crazy journey. And please like, subscribe, tell your friends, spread the word. We want to grow. We want to continue to grow. We want this to be visual eventually. We want the video store to be seen. We don't want to just be heard. And like I said, all are welcome. We love you all. Thank you for coming back, and we will be back next week. Do you want to say anything else, David?
Nope, that is all. I think you said it perfectly. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
That's right. And before we go, you know what I meant to tell you, David? There was another scene deleted from Snydercut.
Really? What scene?
Darkseid came down, looked at Superman in his eyes, and asked one question.
What question was that?
What killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age.
The Video Store Bad Boys podcast is a double pop collar production. Be on the lookout for the Video Store Bad Boys on all of your favorite social media platforms. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe. The Video Store Bad Boys will return next week.
Bye.